Hello everyone. You are listening to this audiobook on channel Voice of Purpose by NSS IT Bombay.
World Braille Day, celebrated every year on 4th January, is observed to raise awareness of the importance of Braille as a means of communication in the full realization of human rights for blind and partially sighted people. It commemorates the birthday of Louis Braille, the inventor of Braille. About Louis Braille and his invention. At the age of 3, while playing in his father's shop, Louis injured his eye on a sharp tool. Despite the best care available at the time, infection set in and soon spread to the other eye, leaving him completely blind. Barely 16, Braille, then a student at the National Institute for Blind Youth in Paris, spent his time outside class poking holes in paper, trying to come up with more efficient ways to make print letters and numbers understandable by touch. Until then, he and his fellow blind students read by tracing raised print letters with their fingers. It was painfully slow, and few mastered the technique. Writing required memorization of shapes of letters and then an attempt to reproduce them on paper without being able to see or read the results. Louis got his inspiration to use embossed dots to represent letters from Charles Barbier. It is interesting to note that Charles Barbier was a retired artillery officer in Napoleon's army, and he devised this method of communication to help in transmitting silent messages to soldiers during war. Louis immediately recognized its merits and spent the next 3 years improving upon Barbier's idea. We know Louis's system today as Braille. Adjusted over time, Braille is now easier to read and used all over the world. Unfortunately, Louis Braille didn't get to see just how helpful his invention became. He died in 1852, 2 years before France's Royal Institute for the Blind Youth, his alma mater, adopted a Braille curriculum. By 1916, schools around United States taught Braille to their students with blindness. About World Braille Day. 4th January is celebrated as World Braille Day as per United Nations General Assembly resolution passed in November 2018. The first World Braille Day was celebrated in 2019. This year marks the second edition of the day. It is a reminder of the importance of accessibility and independence for people who are blind or visually impaired. Today's reality is that many establishments, such as restaurants, banks, and hospitals, don't offer Braille versions of their print materials like menus, statements, and bills. Because of this, people with blindness or visual impairments often don't have the freedom to choose a meal on their own or keep their finances private. This day spreads awareness about Braille and other accessible forms of communication. It is a reminder to all that everyone deserves and is legally entitled to the same accommodations and service, regardless of ability. January is also celebrated as Braille Literacy Month. All India Radio News and its regional units in Pune and Nagpur have observed World Braille Day in an innovative way by broadcasting news read by visually impaired students and officers. The news was read in Braille and read live. Although Braille is an effective method to communicate, its usage has been declining the past few years with the rising popularity of recordings and text-to-speech readers. There is much that needs to be done to combat the decline of Braille literacy. But one way that each of us can help is to create awareness of how Braille makes it possible for blind people to transform dreams into reality. On World Braille Day, we must commit ourselves to showing more blind people and more members of the sighted public how this versatile code helps people live the lives they want.
So hope you guys had fun. Please like, share and subscribe to this channel for more interesting audiobooks.